Hey, it's Dan Charles with Cannabiz News, and it is the weekend of November 5th on a Sunday. We're going to look at some cannabis stocks because it was a very interesting week. So let's take a look at the ETF, the HMMJ. So last week I looked at this, and this was on the last Friday. And this to me looked like it was going to come down. And I said that if it broke this low, then we could be going very, very bearish here. But I also said for most of the Canadian cannabis stocks I looked at that had this kind of look, that Monday, Tuesday, and you can go back and look at the video, I said Monday, Tuesday are crucial, because if they gap up or break out to the upside, then we could be looking at going long. But if they break down and break the recent lower lows, then the trend is going to completely change. So what happened was on Monday, it gapped up. Now on Monday, this is not an enticing gap up because first of all, we got a lot of red, gaps up, and goes higher. The bulls drive it higher, and then the bears pull it back down. I sure wouldn't be looking to buy after a day like that. And then the next day on Tuesday, and this is still not, for my style of trading, I just don't, these aren't entry points for me, but I think a lot of traders and investors would probably look at that as a signal to go long. Not me, I'm more conservative. I like my candlesticks nice and tight to the moving average, like you see here. You see how tight, you see this black moving average touching the candles. That's what I like to see, because that's usually where you're going to get the breakout going. And you can see that here's the black moving average. The candles are away from there. Now they're touching, so you could see a breakout on the Monday, Tuesday. But for my conservative type of trading, and I trade everything, although this is looking promising, it's not an entry point for me, but it could be for other people. So let's look at ACB. All right, so same type of thing. Broke out. This was last Friday when I was looking at this. I mean, this was looking very, very bearish. And I said Monday, Tuesday is key, and gap up. But this is just not something I would look to go long in. But if you see Thursday, support was hit at the low of $3.01. So I've talked about this before in videos. You're going to get support and resistance off of whole numbers. So $3 would be the whole number. So because price came down and hit that 301, it didn't want to break the $3. So there's the $3. It came down, hit 301, and pulled back up. It got bought back up. So there is support. So if you own this or buying this, you want to watch that $3 support, and you'd put a stop just below that $3. Let's look at APH. All right. So here's the breakout on Monday, Tuesday that I was talking about. Looked like it was bearish, coming down. Breaks out, gaps up. You also got to watch gaps, because gaps can often be filled, meaning they'll pull back to fill in the gap, the space between the previous close and the open the following day. So I don't see that happening here, though. There is some resistance at 795, but this looks to me like it could break in the early Monday, Tuesdays. It could break out and break its high of $8.08. Still, it's not my style like I just talked about. I like it nice and tight to the moving average. And because there's just so many stocks, currencies, and commodities to trade, I stick to my system. And you have to stick. That's the whole thing when it comes to being successful in this business. You have to stick to your plan and your style of trading and not deviate from that plan. So for me to take an entry from this look, it would be off my plan. These are more my setups in here. This would be a setup to buy. So like I said, I like the candles touching or close to these moving average. Let's look at CMED. Okay, so here is CMED, and last week I said that after this breakout, these are perfect signals for entry. After hitting the high at 1223, it actually broke that high at 1225, but then it went sideways. But what was key of last week, I pointed out, at least I think I pointed out in my video, I would have pointed it out. Actually I did because I drew in this line here. The support at $11.30. So that was the key last weekend for this stock, because you can see this green line here, it found support at $11.30. So it hit it here, came down and hit that same $11.30 price. So this was a good one to break out. And then Monday, that was a nice signal. You got the moving average going right through the signal. This would be your entry day on the 31st, which was Tuesday. Let's look at the leader, weed, which is Canopy Growth. Okay, so here's where we were looking at it. I said it needed to break, and it did break out. So there looks to be some potential resistance at the high 1707, and definitely this resistance looks like it should get broken. You also got to look at the angle of the move here, right? So my trades tend to be 2 to 5 days long. Sometimes I'll hold things for a couple weeks, and I do have longer term investments as well, but whenever you see price going up at a certain rate of incline, like a degree, when you see something going up, like this is not bad, but when you start seeing, if you see this breakout, for example, on Monday, tomorrow, and it goes up, it does something like this. Whenever you get that long rangy breakout, that's your selling point, because it's more than likely going to pull back. And you got to watch the $20 potential resistance as well. But overall, I think this stock could keep going. I'm not going to buy it, but if I owned it, I'd be watching Monday and Tuesday very, very, I'd be watching, just because if it breaks out one big 1 or 2 day move, it's going to pull back after that. But if you're a long-term investor and you really believe that this is going to be the big deal next year in Canada, cannabis gets legalized July 1st, I believe, 2018, and this is going to be the major supplier, this Canopy Growth. This stock could be cheap right now. It's got a $2 billion market cap right now. All right, let's look at I saw something kind of interesting. MJNA, which is a stock, an old school stock, maybe one of the first cannabis stocks ever. It kind of looks like it's maybe breaking out. Volume's picking up. So the 30th, 6.6 million shares. The next day popped up to 8.2. And this kind of broke out on the 2nd with 13 million shares, and then it followed through on Friday, 20 million shares. So is MJNA awakening after this sideways death for some time? It's definitely possible. Watch the 10-cent price. If it pulls back on that 10 cents on the open, then that could be there. Well, that's resistance at 10 cents, but it's interesting, at least. It's surprising and interesting. And I haven't read much on MJNA in a while because it's just looked like this. It was going nowhere. But I made money on this last, well, 2 or 3 times I made money on MJNA. What else? TRTC, let me see. Another old school cannabis stock. All right, here it is here, TRTC. And so on the 30th, this was just looking kind of like MJNA. This is TerraTech. It's just been going kind of down / sideways. Hit some support at 17 cents, it looks like, and drove back up on some volume is picking up in this. And then let's see the volume on the Friday. So the volume on the Friday was 7.7 million. Previous day 4.3. Let's just see what the average was. So the average was in the 2s, mostly the 2s. So yeah, spiking up to 6.6 on the 30th, 7.3. You can see some resistance though on these moving averages. Price hit that high at 22 and then pulled back, closing at 21. So watch that, but this could be something I'm gonna watch, and it could be interesting. A break above 24 would be key, which is just above this level back in late September. So look for that breakout above 24. It could be interesting. Could be time to get back into these old school ones. Is there anything else to look at? Well, let's go back to THCX, and then we'll wrap this up. I'll look at Leaf after this. All right, so closing on the high, breaking out. You can see this nice move up. So this is what I'm talking about with nice signals here. This is a nice signal on the 26th because you have this moving average, nice little breakout candle, bit of a definite volume spike from the previous day. Look at the previous day, 140,000 shares. Then you get this breakout of 864,000, and you got the moving average going right through the center of this candle. That's the entry point. Sorry, that's the signal. The following day is the entry point. Just like you see here, this is the signal. This is the entry day. This could be a signal. This is a signal. So let's look at Leaf, and then we'll wrap this up. All right. So here is Leaf. On the 24th, you see some nice signals here. Signal on the 25th. And then you get this volume spike on the Monday, the 30th, and a breakout. Gap up, breakout. It's very interesting. The way this is gapping up and making new highs, though, I wouldn't want to just put a buy order here, because this is quite a move here. You look at the move here from October 5th to the 13th, and then you look at this breakout, this move here. This is a bit of a bigger move, and stocks move in patterns typically from the past, so it's always going to pull back, and you want to get the best entry. So just remember what I said about looking for entries. Follow the moving average. Make sure the candle's going through, the very minimum, touching the moving average. I would never buy a stock, a currency, or a commodity if it's breaking far from the moving average, because it's always going to pull back. So if you buy in here, let's say you buy in at $13.80 something cents, it could easily start pulling back the second you get in. And that's a serious rookie mistake. Rookies see price going up, breaking out, so they just think, I'm just going to jump in. But that's the wrong move, because more often than not, you're going to lose doing that. Always take entries when the candles are touching, or best is, like I said, if the moving average is going center, right through the center of the candle, or close to it, just like you see here. There's the range on this candle. The high is 988. The low is 926. And you see where this black thick moving average is going right almost center through the candle. The next day is where you buy in. All right. Okay, so this is a long video. Have a great week of trading. We'll see you next weekend.